Randall Waddell is the king of interior design in Trinidad and Tobago. His award-winning homework design studio team expertly blends Caribbean charm and luxury with dynamic cosmopolitan flair. Internationally acclaimed, Randall's work is elevated, celebrated artistry. Whether a modest beachside condo or a palatial residence, Randall's signature of modern glamour balancing chic minimalism always wins. I was intrigued by his commitment to prestige and high style, so to celebrate this legacy of Caribbean excellence, it was cool to have Randall from Trinidad and Tobago. Hey Randall, happy to have you finally rolling with Dwight Peters from Jamaica.
Hey Dwight, thank you so much for having me. I've been really looking forward to this. I'm super excited. Dwight Peters, Jamaica and Trinidad to the world.
To the world, my friend. Now, Randall, what is it about interior designing that is most rewarding for you?
The list is long, but I have to say that the most rewarding thing is seeing what I bring to the lives of the clients that I have. It is really a joyous profession in many ways. It is incredibly stressful and it never ends, but the end product brings so much joy to people's lives, and to know that you have participated in affecting how they will continue to live in either their workspaces or their home spaces is really very rewarding.
Now, how will the world of interior designing change with the advent of COVID-19?
Well, I think first of all, it's changed, I would say, in a good way, in one aspect that we were all forced to be in our homes. There's no choice. So everyone was in lockdown and many people are still in their homes. First of all, their children are being educated from home. You're working from home and you're actually living at home. Most of us used to actually leave our homes early in the morning, go to jobs, come back in the evening and have the couple hours in between that we would enjoy our spaces. But now we are literally there all the time. So the good aspect of that is people were forced to look at their spaces in their home to see how it suits their life really as being 24/7. And I believe that that is going to have a long-term effect on how we treat our homes and how we live in them long-term. So it's been a good thing because it's forced people to reassess how they live there and what to do with the spaces. And thankfully that, more opportunity to me. So I don't want to take advantage of the situation, but it is a good thing. And I'm happy for that because it just goes to show that people have now, understanding of why interior design specifically is very important to living functionally in their homes.
And as you mentioned that, I mean, it's very important because it's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. What are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about the job of an interior designer?
Oh gosh, thank you so much. Excellent question. Because I think a lot of people have this, we look at magazines, you see design shows on TV, everything happens in half an hour. And, you've jumped from this kind of dowdy looking place into something that looks really nice. The expectation or the thinking might be that an interior designer is someone who just comes and decorates to make the space look better. But the reality is an interior designer is actually a completely different thing to a decorator. An interior decorator cannot be an interior designer, but an interior designer could be a decorator. Because interior design starts with spatial planning. The whole purpose of what we're actually doing is reimagining what a space should and could be. And how do we infrastructurally build that? The actual finishing of, what's on a wall and what furniture is there and how does something look is actually just the 5% at the end. And that's what really everyone appreciates. But the interior design aspect is actually that you're designing. So you're starting with what's in your mind and then putting that forward on paper to understand what your client needs, how do they want to live, and reassessing that space, whether it is for an office or a restaurant or a home, and then applying those processes to it.
Fascinating. Now, what are the main differences you face dealing with Caribbean clients versus, say, clients in North America, for example?
Well, I think, first of all, I've had the opportunity to work with both, which is great. So I have had clients in North America, as well as throughout the Caribbean. I think the biggest difference with a Caribbean client is that, first of all, we're much more laid back. So we have a more kind of an easy breezy attitude, in our working environments and our working relationships. North America in design, and especially since I was educated in North America for interior design, what in school, what you're really learning is lots of code and applications. So when you go to do a project in the United States or in Canada, you have to follow a lot of code that requires you to do this and to do that and to this.
Right.
In the Caribbean, it's not as restrictive.
Restricted, right.
Right. So you have a lot of opportunity to have a little more play. And of course, you have the client who is not as maybe overly concerned about logistics and that kind of thing, because we understand living on islands that everything comes from everywhere.
Right, right.
So it's a little more easy breezy. So
yeah. Now, becoming a part of the HGTV Professional Designer Network is a major accomplishment for you. Congratulations, by the way, my friend.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, how did it all happen?
That actually was I have been big fans of designers like Candace Olson, Sarah Richardson. Those designers are actually based in Toronto. HGTV is a Canadian-based enterprise run by a conglomerate out of Toronto. Those designers are always kind of been mentors to me. I love their designs. And a couple of years back, I had the opportunity to meet with Candace Olson directly at a conference in Chicago. And at the time, she was enthralled that I was from the Caribbean. And that, she's like, oh, it would be fantastic if we could do shows, HGTV shows in the Caribbean and Trinidad, So the rapport was great. And she put me on to their directors and their editors, of which conversation started. Then I had to submit my portfolio and then fly back to New York City to have a meeting. And then several months later, they agreed to add me to their professional designer network. So that was a wonderful achievement at the time, and I super excited. It has been something that has brought more, I would say, acknowledgement from the fact that everyone knows HGTV.
Right.
And I have had wonderful access to North American products and brokers and so on because of it.
Now tell me the story behind the name of the company, Homework Design Studios.
Okay, so that one is actually very simple and inspired by my daughters. When I started the company 12 years ago, basically we were trying to think of a name when I was gonna have my own studio, and we figured, well, they do homework and I will do homework, and so it's home work. So let's just say homework.
And it speaks to love running through, family love.
Yes, exactly.
Success had to be the end game.
Of course, and they pretty much run my life anyway, so and they may as well have decided everything else.
Good. Of course they would. Now you're now a part of an elite club with your recent win of the International Property Awards added to your accomplishments. Tell me how that happened and what it really means for you.
Well, what it really means to me is the acknowledgement is wonderful. It is great to have your design work presented to peers and to people who are, other designers in the world, especially internationally, who are reviewing your work.
Yes.
To have been awarded because of that, the project won its category and so on, was tremendous, because to me that meant it was a reaffirmation of not only my skills, but of what we can do locally in Trinidad with the skills of all the trades and suppliers and people that support my project.
Right.
So that was what it really meant to me. It meant that we could go out there and say, hey, we have a team that is internationally recognized for doing international quality work. And this is coming out of Trinidad and Tobago, which represents our Caribbean region, So that was really tremendous. How it happened was basically in 2019, I submitted the project to the International Property Awards Committee in the United Kingdom. And it, of course, then the pandemic hit in early 2020. So the whole judging everything got thrown off. And then, so we actually didn't find out about the win until pretty much October or November of 2020. But I basically just presented the project for submission, you know?
Yeah. Now, what's been your biggest project in terms of scope, budget, and result?
I've had some competing residences. I want to say there's been a doctor's office. It was pretty impressive. But I think there's been some residences, namely about two, one of which was the award-winning project for the International Property Awards, that by scale was a very large home. And it was also a very long process. So we started from the actual new build. So we were in that project for about 2 years. And it was all inclusive 100%. So literally at the end of the 2 years, the client literally brought their clothes into the home and their 4 dogs and lived in it. We did every single thing from their, you know, from actually building the house to finishing it, to furnishing it, to, you know, giving them plates and knives and forks and and a blender.
Talk about being inclusive. It's all done.
Yes, everything. Turnkey. That's exactly what I like.
Now, the thing is, I have to wonder though, take me through the process of you taking on a project, starting the project, and seeing it through to completion. What are some of the things that will change along the way that really challenges you?
Well, I think in some sense, my design studio may be slightly different to a lot of interior design studios that are regional. I'm a full service studio, turnkey, exactly like you say, whereas we also act as the contractor. So we're designing and we're actually contracted to do the finishing works. So I have a full team of 20-something people that work with me project to project, and we do everything together to complete that project. So we basically meet a client. They're either going to build, and let's pretend it's a residence, a new home, or to renovate their home. We will then re-envision that space by designing plans, 3D elevations, and walkthroughs of what the new space is going to be. If that is acceptable to the client, we then build a budget around that. And that budget is then presented where they have control over the spend. So they can tell us to spend less, spend more, wherever they want to on that. And then we move into the mobilization phase of actually construction, demolition and construction, depending what it is. And then all of the other implements that come with that. So, and then right to the end. And what is really great about that service to me, and it's why I wanted my studio to be like that, is that it leaves me in full control. And I'm not good not being in control, you know? So it's like you.
Yes, definitely like me.
Yeah, because your show is your brand and you present to the world what you want that to be.
Exactly.
So I won't do a project where I design only and hand that over to a client, because what happens is if you do that, then even though you've just designed it, they take that design and then they take the vision of what they feel that design should be. In the end, if that does not work out, then the name they call is Randall Waddle.
Yes.
So I'm very particular about how my brand is seen, you know?
Nothing wrong with that, my friend. Nothing at all. Now we're going to do a quick game before you go. Design, nail, or fail. The Randall Waddle direction. We'll show you a photo of the interior of a house. It may be a kitchen, bathroom, or a living space. And you'll tell me whether that vision you're seeing has nailed it or failed to make the grade and needs a Randall makeover. All right.
I'm ready.
First look.
That's definitely a nail it.
They nailed it.
There's no problem with that one. Well, I think first of all, the color palette is great. The use of the fixtures and the tiling that they've done, I think, is really great. To me, it looks like a natural travertine stone.
Right.
They have a spectacular view. So I have to say that the positioning of the tub and the glass door and everything off onto the balcony is perfect. So, and lots of natural light coming in, especially for a bathroom. I think you need all of that. They've done a wonderful job of using a 40mm profile on the vanity countertop, which is great if you're trying to do a transitional design, which they're going for, which has contemporary elements, but a little bit of traditional take on it. And they have succeeded very well. Who is it? Oh, this one. That is just lovely. So let's say that this one is a big fail. Now, okay, so let me jump on this one in 2 seconds. First of all, I don't understand what is really going on, but I'm gonna give the person the benefit of the doubt that says they are literally living in one single space. And they may have been very inventive and said, I have my bathroom and I'm hoping there's a little bit of a kitchen in there too. What's great is he has a lot of window and he's built a bed over a shower. I mean, who doesn't want that? I mean,
really
come on. rolling in from your tub right to your bed, Dwight. I mean, that's a lovely kitchen. This one is a nail. And I like it a lot. It has a very easy composition. And they have obviously gone for very contemporary design. And also the scale of the kitchen, they have laid it out correctly. I like the cooktop on the actual peninsula, and the choice of finishes in the tiles goes very nicely with their cabinetry and their appliances, etc. I think they've done a good job. That, to me, I have to tell you, first of all, it leaves me speechless, but I'm gonna say it's a fail just to start the conversation. And then, I don't know why it jumps out to me, like if we're looking at the Friends set,
yes.
You know? It's definitely not a Monica, but it could be a Phoebe. the green grass backsplash is fantastic.
Really, Randall. Randall, let me tell you something. This is one of my best interviews. You were an absolute treat. You deserve your own TV show. Thank you so much for rolling with us from Jamaica.
Thank you, Dwight. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Take care. More after this break.
I save because one day my little business is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and I make sure to put away a little something for him. Better safe than sorry.
And thanks to JDIC, deposit insurance protection on my savings gone up.
You've been upgraded. Deposits held in commercial banks, building societies, and merchant banks are covered under the JDIC Deposit Insurance Scheme up to $1.2 million per depositor per institution.
The JDIC is big protection for every little thing that matters to me.
No, that's name real upgrade.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
The games you love to play just got easier with Supreme Games mobile app. Download and play just like that. Total privacy, you've got more opportunities to win with the mobile app. Play anytime, so have fun non-stop. The more you play, the more you experience your favorite games in new convenience. You can play your way, so you win your way with your app, nothing's in your way.
The Supreme Games app, now with great new features. Click, register and play today at supremegames.com. Please game responsibly. Conditions apply.
Did you sell? Did you sell? You know it's a vibe, brand new life is a promise. Steady striving for more, no more limitations. Passion and communication, reaching every heart to the generations. Innovation all for the community, proud to bring unity. It's a movement with a new source of energy.